What is up, Sooner Nation? I am Casey Mallon, and you are now come on in a Sooner state of mind. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Basketball fans, it's that time of the year again. The NBA is back from opening tip-off to buzzer beaters. BetOnline has you covered with the best odds, biggest promotions, and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. This season, every game matters. BetOnline has every stat, matchup breakdown, and live odds to bet on during the game. And it's not just the NBA. BetOnline has odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL to political props. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Sooner state of mind, family. What is good? Walk into splintered sunlight, inch your way through dead dreams to another land. Maybe you're tired and broken, your tongue is twisted, with words half spoken and thoughts unclear. Thoughts unclear. Got a lot of that going around right now. Not sure what to think of this season, other than so far it's been tremendously disappointing. We were all super stoked for the move to the SEC. For whatever reason, though, this season was not meant to be. Not meant to be a good one, anyways. That's not to say we can't pull a lot of the good out of it, or at least find the good in it. Now, despite everything that has transpired, I feel like the first half against Ole Miss last week was the best we've played all season. And that's the closest it's looked to looking like Oklahoma Sooners football. Offensively, we were doing everything just a little bit better. And just by doing things a little bit better, it made everything better. Unfortunately, one half of football makes not a full game of football. So last week started pretty good, like I said, a banging first half. $14-10 at halftime. 26-14 at the end of that game. But there was a lot to like about it. I thought Jackson Arnold played some of his best football of the season. 22 of 31, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. And that's what we've needed to see out of him. And he provided. That first half was great. Really, for that second touchdown too, he made that happen. He bought the time and got out of there and fired that bad boy in there at the end. I was really into that score, the Jacob Jordan right before halftime, giving the Sooners that 14-10 lead. And that running game really helped facilitate some of the other things. Javonte Barnes, 16 for 67. Not great, but pretty good. It looked the best that it's been. There was actually some holes there, some creativity in all the concepts. I don't know if that was just because Joe John was up there calling the plays for the first time this season. But at least it looked like an offense. We were able to execute some of the things. Still nothing downfield, no big plays out of this offense. Still way too many mistakes. But overall, it looked like real football in the first half of that game. So I think that's definitely something to build on. I don't know if that gives Joe John any life as OC past the rest of this season, but it did look like progress and it did feel much better. Then we got to halftime, and the second half was just not good. Too many mistakes. This team is clearly not good enough to overcome mistakes, and they really hurt us on Saturdays, especially in the second half. Yeah. I wear no shoe shine. I got toe jam football, monkey finger. I drink Coca-Cola. I know you. You know me. And one thing I can tell you is you got to be free. Can't believe I'm drinking soda on a podcast. I'm going crazy here, people. Maybe it's because it's the week of Halloween. Did you guess what my costume was? Did you say depressed Sooner fan? I think a lot of us will be wearing the same costumes this week. But like I said, at least we're coming off half of a good game of football. I did feel pretty positive, even how the second half went down in this thing. I left the game feeling pretty good about it overall. But that being said, when Sexton went out, it kind of all fell apart. And the boys were getting JFA killed back there. So that's still got to get cleaned up. I don't know what kind of bodies we even have now. We're going to start working some of the young guys in. It's time. Reevaluate. As sad as it is, our goal now has to be to find a way to get 2 more wins on this schedule. And that might not be pretty easy. Luckily, we've got Maine coming up this weekend. So I used to scoff and make fun of this week in the SEC schedules. Oh, you schedule Maine, blah, blah, blah. You schedule whoever. Now I get it. You need that layup during the season because it has been absolutely brutal. The injuries are just crazy to this team. I mean, I can't remember a season when it's been this bad. Sometimes you lose a star or 1 or 2 players, but to still be without your top 5 receivers and the mash unit up front with the O-line and just never being able to get more than 2 games in a row with 5 healthy bodies. So, and now it's taking its toll on the defense as well. It's just, I don't know, man. It's a lot. It is a lot. But, I thought everybody played pretty well last week. That Ole Miss defense had not been giving up a lot of yards on the ground, and we got our best run game going. Said Jackson Arnold played pretty well. Could have gotten some help from some other positions last week, specifically the tight ends. A lot of drops, a lot of poor blocking out of that position group in general. So maybe we get some of the young bloods up in there too. Taylor Tatum, the guy's got undeniable talent. Missing some blocks here and there, but the fumbles, man, got to clean that stuff up. There's some rumblings about some disgruntledness maybe there. I don't know. Everybody starts pointing the damn finger when it's not going right. So it's hard to know what to believe. But overall, if anybody wants to bounce after this season, deuces. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I know this is what college football has become now, with NIL and the transfer portal. You have to re-recruit your team every year. And a lot of Sooner Nation has the sky falling and everybody leaving and this and that. But I don't think that's the case. If you're getting the right guys in there, they're going to stay. They're going to see it through. Why wouldn't you want to be the guys that turn it around? So hopefully that's not going to come into play. Sure, we'll lose a few, but we'll get a few too. So that is just, it is what it is at that point, and it's a transactional deal for a lot of players now, but not all of them. Some want to come and be Sooners. That's basically what BV said about Arnold. Is like, why would he want to go anywhere? He's the starting quarterback for Oklahoma Sooners. That's something he's dreamed about. It's something he's doing now. So I think that cat's going to stay. And we'll see what happens with some of these receivers. Maybe a handful will take a red shirt this year and come back, because I know they could all improve their draft stock. It's hard to improve it when you're on the sidelines. So what would this offense have looked like with any of those guys healthy? I don't know. It's been a struggle up front anyways, so maybe it wouldn't have been better, but I'm thinking it would have been at least just a little bit. And then maybe the bright side of this is we're going to go out and look for an up-and-coming offensive coordinator. I don't know what that means for, Joe John and the rest of this offensive crew. I think everything will be evaluated at the end of the season, but we got to get that right. And I think with the talent on defense, there's plenty of that to come back and make this a complete team next year. Still some areas and some positions we need to up the ante a little bit, but for the most part, it's still a highly, highly talented roster here. So, but that's all crap we get to worry about a few weeks down the road. As for now, we just have to find 2 more wins on this season to get bowl eligible. Why? Because then we get all those bowl practices, and that is crucial. It is crucial. So, I cannot imagine one of those wins is not coming this Saturday. Sooners hosting the Maine Black Bears. They're also 4-4 on the season. And this really should not be a game, people. I mean, if it is, we are in trouble, okay? Got to use this week as a get right. Keep building on that rhythm we saw in the Ole Miss game and move it forward. We should be able to keep that flow going and improve on it against these guys. I mean, Sooners are a 34.5-point favorite in this thing, which I don't know. It's been 3 or 4 games, maybe more, to take for us to even have 34 points collectively. But the level of competition here is not going to be the same. And there should be absolutely zero struggle with this team at all. I can't imagine a world where this isn't an absolute blowout. But the way this season has gone, I hope it's not hubris or anything. That really should be what happens this weekend. So let's get it right. Build off of what we saw last week. We still need some of these receivers to step up. Jacob Jordan has put back-to-back games, solid games together. Said had the touchdown. He looks to be the guy that Arnold has built some chemistry with when he was running scout team for the few weeks that he wasn't starting. So we're seeing that in the game. But Bauer Sharp, man, this cat's just got to play better. I'm glad I had a few days before I did the show, because I don't really like to come down on a player and talk crap about how they're playing, but it's just not good enough. I had high expectations for that dude. And every week you can point to a couple of mistakes, if not more than that. So that's got to be cleaned up. I mean, it is not good. So, but that's all stuff that can be improved on. It's concentration, it's mental lapse. Figure it out. We've seen it. You're watching the tape after the game, learn from those mistakes and do better. But other than the backs and the tight ends and Jacob Jordan, other than that, there's not been a lot of action in the receiving core. They're going with Brennan Thompson a couple weeks ago. Let's see more of that. I want more of that. And good Lord, is JJ Hester frustrating. I mean, this cat has all the physical tools. He's just got to put it together mentally. I mean, he's fast. He's big. God, if we could figure out just the catching part. I know it's important. You got to do that. But I just think, man, this guy should be so good. And maybe he can still get there. But we're going to need somebody to step up and do that for this team. Somebody has to. Javante Barnes, we talked about it earlier. He had a really nice game, over almost 120 combined yards, 67 rush yards, and 57 receiving yards. His most complete game too. Let's build off of that. Let's keep going there. I don't know what up five are going to be starting up front, but this is a good game to get that right as well. Find the five that you're going to go with, figure it out, and we just go forward. And after this Maine game, it's not getting a lot easier. But if we can get this game, gosh, if we have to, I mean, that will be our 5th win. And then we have a little bye week. And then it is Mizzou. Or I guess the bye week is coming after the Mizzou game. So let's take this as a 2-week deal. 2 weeks. Orange down. Got to get this win. Move to 5-4. And that Missouri team is very beatable. So maybe we can build off of what we started last week, crush these guys, and then go in and get that win at Missouri and have to have it, because after that, it's Bama coming to town after the bye, and then at LSU, which will probably be a night game. And I know Bama and LSU and even Missouri are kind of struggling, but I've not seen the type of football that we need to play to beat those teams. Can we get there? Maybe. Have to. This would be so disappointing if we don't get those 6 wins and finish the season under 500 moving in there. Have to do it. Have to. And then maybe if we can get a couple of these wins, then maybe that brings some momentum into those last 2 games. Get these next 2, get these dubs, get something to feel good about, and then take a week off and bring it again. Just not the season anybody anticipated, but there's still a chance to get it going in a direction to feel good about what this season was after, at the end of it, after the fact or whatever. It is. Not what we expected, but still, what are we going to do about it? So maybe we get healthy after that next bye. Maybe get some help at the receiver position to come in here. We shall see. But first things first. Get these Maine Black Bears. Get a dub against them. This team's got no business even looking beyond them, even though it should be total blowout. But we'll see about that. Couple games last week. Number 1, Oregon blew out the Illini 38-9. Dylan Gabriel putting up all kinds of crazy numbers in that offense. And he's moving up to the top of BetOnline's Heisman Trophy odds list. Coming in at plus 225 is Travis Hunter. DG right behind him at plus 240. Ashton Genty plus 350. Dude, that cat has been putting on a freaking show. It's funny, a couple years ago in the NFL, it was like, oh, the running back is a dying position. It's not important anymore. And you look at the teams in the NFL having success this year. The Ravens with Henry, the Eagles with Saquon, even, DeAndre Swift for Chicago is kind of getting it going. The teams that are able to run the ball are having pretty good success. Even in San Francisco, Mason's in there for an injured CMC, and he's second in the league rushing. The running back is bringing value again. So Ashton Genty probably going in the first round, definitely in the first round next year. So he's got a good chance at winning the Heisman here. See how he finishes the season. And if Boise can stay in the mix and get into the playoffs, then he'll actually get to do what he's been doing in front of some large number of eyeballs, and that will help his case. But it's hard to beat the glamour boys here, the quarterbacks. Drew Aller after Cam Ward at 5, Jalen Milroe at 6, plus 5,000. Quinn Ewers at 7, plus 6,600. Curtis Rourke, Indiana, plus 10K. Will Howard at Ohio State, plus 10K. And then Riley Leonard, plus 15. So lots of quarterbacks on here. But Hunter, Gabriel, Genty, and Ward probably going to be your 4 finalists. They're leading the list now. We'll see. Still lots of football to be played. And a couple big games coming up this weekend. But before we move forward, go back real quick. A&M absolutely destroys LSU 38-23. And that game was close. It was close until it wasn't. And Texas A&M undefeated in SEC play. And Marcel Reed looks to be the real deal, man. That cat came in and A&M just left LSU in its wake, man. That guy is a fun player. And after getting beat by Notre Dame week 1, they've really been playing some damn good football. And I will be rooting for them about a month from now. We'll talk about that later. But they did what they needed to do, and they're sitting all alone at the top of the SEC. Pretty impressive. BYU stays undefeated. They go to UCF and take down the Knights 37-24. Indiana 8-0 in the Big Ten. 31-17 over Washington last week. They could be rolling into the end of the season. Let's pop their schedule real quick and see who they've got left on there. Oh, baby. We're going to find out what we need to know about Indiana moving forward. They have at Michigan State this weekend, host Michigan the following week. Then they're on a bye, and then it's at Ohio State. This next month will show us if Indiana can get through that slate undefeated. Ooh, that will be impressive, man. They've been playing some really good football, and that could be setting up a showdown with an undefeated Oregon because they seem to be going in the right direction. Huge game at Michigan. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But then it's against Maryland, at Wisconsin, and then hosting Washington. Unless something goes really wrong in one of those games, Oregon should roll to the end of the season undefeated. But still lots of football to be played between now and then, so got to pump the brakes on all that undefeated talk. But let's go ahead and move it to this weekend's lineup. Some pretty good games. It's going to go ahead and start in the Big Ten. Ohio State at Penn State. Penn State's still mobbing undefeated. They're ranked number 3. Ohio State comes in at number 4. Bet Online has the Buckeyes as 3.5-point favorites on the road. That's a morning game. You know Penn State would like that thing in prime time, but that's a good test for them. I need to see what these guys are made of. I'm not sure. I said I didn't know if I believed in them before they played SC and they found a way to win that game, although they snatched that victory right away from SC late in that thing, so it could have been much different. But, hey, a win is a win, so that will be a big test for those guys. Don't look now. Army's still undefeated, 7-0. They're hosting 1-6 Air Force. I'd like to see what Army does the rest of the season. They actually have an offensive attack, and it's not only the run game, but that is a tricky, tricky squad. So they still have a pretty brutal schedule after Air Force, North Texas, and then the big matchup against Notre Dame. And Notre Dame absolutely destroyed Navy last week. So Notre Dame's still trying to stay in the mix there too. But, man, wouldn't it be a fun story if Army can run the table there? That would be pretty cool. So got to take it a week by week, but they're primed until that Notre Dame game. Let's see. I'll look for their point spread. I'm going to have to come back to that because I do not see it here. But they should be favored in every game until they play those Notre Dame fighting Irish. You want to fight? I'm Irish, and I like to fight. Oregon at Michigan. I don't think they have the firepower to hang with Oregon this year. I mean, weird stuff can happen. It is a road game for the Ducks. It's going to be a little bit chilly. I don't know if Ducks like the cold weather or not, but that is going to be a rocking atmosphere. See what DG and them boys can do on the road in the big house. That's a pretty sexy game. Not as sexy as it would have been last year, but whatevs. Florida, Georgia. Georgia should stay on track against them Gators. Iowa State still undefeated. Big 12's kind of kinky this year. Iowa State undefeated. BYU undefeated. K-State right there with just one loss. Deion's got his buffs on the outside looking in. You know that college football would love to see Colorado stay in that mix. A fun squad to watch. Star power with Deion and the sidelines. Everybody comes to those games. So I'm going to keep rooting for those guys because I want to see them in the mix there. Indiana at Michigan State. Go in there and handle your business, man. Don't mess around and let Sparty upset that season. I mentioned Kansas State. They're at Houston. They should be able to roll there. A&M at South Carolina. I don't think South Carolina has the offense to hang with this A&M team. Are they going to be too high after that destruction of LSU last week? Or are they going to come out and handle that biz? We'll find out on Saturday. Louisville at Clemson. Clemson, man. We all were throwing dirt on them. Dabo's got to get with the times. Antiquated. Program in decline. And ever since that opening loss, they've been putting a beat down on everybody. So that's pretty cool to see. Handle your biz against Louisville. And hopefully they can set up the ACC championship against those Canes who look to be staying in the mix there too. A couple tough games. Still got Pitt and South Carolina for Clemson, but they seem to be doing the right things and getting those dubs. Oh, it's so fun to talk about other teams in playoff contention when it's not the Sooners, right? JK, I hate it, but what are we going to do? Still lots of football left. And it just sucks we're not going to be part of that, but we can still, there's still opportunity to feel good about this season when all is said and done. We can make enough things happen that even though it's not what we wanted it to be, it can be, we can leave with a good feeling, right? And JFA build on what he did last week. It was the best that he's looked all season. And I still think he can play much better, but it felt like, okay, this dude's getting it. Maybe sitting a few weeks helped him. That progress is good, and I like where he's going. Like I said, this should be a get-right game in every sense of the word. There should be zero problems. Should completely dominate this team. So, if we can't get this win, ugh. But I feel like we're going to be fine with that anyways. What happens the following week, who knows? But this is a good opportunity to build on that. And you know what? If we can maybe get some points going, that's going to refresh this defense, man. Those cats have been balling out week in and week out. We've made them do way more than they should have. We've been asking them to keep us in these games and been getting absolutely zero offensive output. So let's score some points, give that D a rest, and get them fired up again too. They're doing a hell of a job against tremendous adversity and against a lot of injuries too. They've not been clean at all. We've been decimated in the back line there too, in the secondary. So injuries create opportunity. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. So we just move forward. That's all you can do. Beat these stupid Maine Bears and then get back at it. Get these wins. Go to a bowl and build for the future. All right? It's not too high of a bar, especially for University of Oklahoma. Am I right, people? Yes, I am. Make sure you subscribe to Sooner State of Mind on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Hey, Alexa, play Sooner State of Mind podcast. Boom. You don't even have to get off the couch, okay? Also, head on over to believe.com. That's BLEAV.com. Go to shows, type in Sooner State of Mind, and you are locked, my friends. And no matter who your team or what your sport, Believe has it all. So much great content. Every team, every topic, everywhere, believe.com. If you want to watch Sooner State of Mind, head on over to YouTube and search The Football Dudes. We are there. Enjoy Halloween. If you got the kids, take them out. Let them do their little trick-or-treat thing. I'm going to be stealing my kids' Starburst and maybe some Skittles, perhaps some Twizzlers. Get a couple Twix in there, maybe a Kit Kat bar, whatever. It's all good. Anyways, enjoy that time with your families. Get your minds right. Go out and handle our business on Saturday. And then we can reassess this thing and figure out our plan for the final month of the season. Can you believe that? 4 weeks after this, for us, anyways. Sooner State of Mind is brought to you by Bet Online. My name is Casey Mallon, and I am in a Sooner State of Mind.